cold this morning. Hi, everybody. Well, we're back. The Risk Watchdogs. We've had a bit of a sabbatical, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. Yeah. We've been making sure we don't bark up the wrong tree.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah. But welcome to everybody to Risk Watchdogs, the first one for at least a couple of months.
It is.
Was it last year?
Yeah, but we've both been quite busy, and I suppose we could say by popular demand, a few people asked why we're not doing it. So we thought we'd sort of jump up and talk about a couple of things. You and I are both on various social media platforms, and we sort of shared between us, didn't we, about the Trust No One documentary on Netflix, which is something it's like a mantra for me. Trust nobody, ABC, assume nothing, believe nobody, check everything. Stuff.
And it's quite an enjoyable documentary, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
And there's a sort of bonus to this with Netflix showing. They've showed a few now, and in terms of raising awareness, it's good. Yeah. The thing that I'd like to get across to people that may be watching this is Netflix shows a lot of fantasy.
Yeah.
Their documentaries are there for entertainment, not education.
Yeah.
And one of the things I've picked up or feel is people think it's not going to happen to them. It's somebody else. So it's a little bit like nosy and gossip. Yeah. But of them all, the Tinder swindler and all this sort of stuff, the one that most people are liable to fall for at the moment, in my opinion, is the various types of investment scams. So it could be crypto, like this one was Quadrica CX, but it could be wine lakes, whiskey vats, retina scans, heat scans, COVID cures, and everything else. So to me, it struck me that it was actually possibly something that I could have fallen for, 5 or 6 years ago. Everybody wants to be in at the start, and those that were in at the start with Bitcoin made a lot of money.
Yeah, they did until fell out of it.
Yeah.
In a polite way, but no, I think you're right. I mean, it's one of those get rich quick schemes that popped up, and some people did get very rich, but not everybody. And that's the thing. I think people think, oh, I'm going to make loads of money. Well, it's a bit like if you take the internet out of this, I give you a load of money without checking who you are, without sort of doing any verification whatsoever, and then I trust you to do good for me. And I think this is what, if you strip it back to its bare bones, people are quite happy to send money across the internet because they trust it and they don't do any due diligence. Well, very few of them do.
Well, one of the things that I see, Colin, is I see a lot of people doing little podcasts like this, applying hindsight, and I'd like to actually do a bit of that.
Yeah.
But we're not applying hindsight. We were saying to people at the time, watch out for this one. The OneCoin, scam. You can tell it's a scam. I mean, I'll give you an example. A friend of mine sent me an email for a crypto investment link and said, "Pete, is this a scam?" And I emailed back saying, "Yes, it's a scam." And he said, "That was quick." I said, "Well, I've not had a look yet."
Yeah.
I said, but I'm telling you, it's a scam. I said, now I'll have a look. And then I had a look and it was a scam. Yeah. And there are so many similarities. Again, you and I know, because Google is a fantastic tool for people.
Yeah.
But people don't really know what they're looking for. They think that they're going to come up with something that says, this is a scammer.
Yeah.
This man's been to prison for fraud and all that sort of stuff. But it's not that. What you need to be doing professionally is looking for reassurance.
Yeah, exactly.
So if we go back to this one, probably a good starting point was you went into the Wayback Machine, didn't you, and got up the website.
Yeah, and it's still around. I mean, if you type Quadriga into Google now, there's a different company there. I'm not going to even go there. But I'm going to share my screen here, and so you can see what the site looked like. This is back in 2018, I believe. Yeah, August 13, 2018. So that's how the site looked. But the thing, I thought I'd look at this prior to the call because there is stuff on there. It looks reasonably professional, doesn't it? But the thing I always look for on websites is, who is this company? Who are the people behind it? And it's absent.
Yeah.
You've got your privacy policy there, TOS disclaimer, refund policy. I've looked in there. There's nothing that leaps out. If you look at about up here, you'd expect, it's like my website and your website, there's a piece about, there's a bio, isn't there, normally?
Yeah.
The person running the, well, what you've got is the Bitcoin Co-op, which does feature in the documentary, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, they provide security. Hetson Online, Bitcoin, but who are these people?
Yeah, where is Gerald Cotton?
Exactly.
With a smiling face?
Yeah.
Where is Michael Patry? I don't think he was with them at that time. And that 90% of the ones that I see, as soon as I open About Us, and it says we are visionaries, innovators, and nothing else, I know it's either a private investigations business or a security business where you can't reveal your identity, or you choose not to. I hide in plain sight.
Yeah.
Or I know it's something dodgy.
Yeah.
Or I've even seen them where the supposed team are actually, been purchased from Photoshop or stock photos. I've even seen one where they've got mixed up and they've put a picture of a bloke up and given him a woman's name.
Yeah.
So About Us to me is important. Certainly, if it's an investment thing, you're looking for proof of regulation.
Yeah. Company
there's nothing, but it looks all right because people will look at that. If you just saw there, there's Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google, and all that. Yeah, so it looks as though people are taking that as assurance. But be assured, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Google are not proof of identity.
It's easy to set up, isn't it? We know.
Yeah.
I think the thing for me is that, if you went to what was the YouTube page, I expected the CEO to be doing some sort of, this is what we do, this is me. In actual fact, what I've seen are these little cartoon videos.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it just seems to, it doesn't for me, wouldn't give me any comfort whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, for the benefit of the viewers at the moment, we're talking about a website here that people have accepted on face value.
Yeah.
And somebody's disappeared with about $150 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
$150 million gone. And it's gone from good people. So again, watching the documentary, there was a guy there. He started off, he had a startup, and to help him get by, he was paying all his, as much as he could out of his startup business into Quadriga to try and make a little bit of extra money. And the other sad thing with this is you get this printout of how much you've got in credit, this screenshot, and you think it's there until you come and try and collect it. And then there's all sorts of reasons why you can't take it.
Yeah.
So one thing I'm not sure about is whether this was always going to be an exit scam. And that does make it harder for the public. So I think what you've got to consider is how can I rely on these people? So is it people that are known? Is it people with histories?
Yeah.
But again, people, even when this first started to kick off, which the story just for everybody simply is that the boss of the company, Gerald Cotton, first of all started traveling all around the world, and then reportedly died in India. The cause of death was given as Crohn's disease, which is extremely rare for anybody under the age of 30 to die of Crohn's disease. I don't think there was a post-mortem.
No, not
and the body was cremated. So the original story was, and I remember seeing this, is people were saying, "Oh no, poor Jerry, and I hope his wife Jen's okay," and all this sort of stuff. But it turned out that he was the only person that knew the passcodes for getting the money out.
Yeah.
And for months, people were paid technology people to crack the passwords and still believing in poor Jerry.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, when they did finally get in, there was no money there.
Yeah.
So we've got the money's gone.
Yeah.
The CEO has gone. The other thing that people didn't pick up when it was first happening is that his wife went into hiding. Now, according to the documentary, and it may well be true, she was being threatened and things like that, so she went into hiding.
Yeah.
But to me, if somebody dies unexpectedly in India, and I'm sorry, but India's notorious. If you want to die without dying, India's quite a good place.
Yeah.
To actually do that. And then, again, people will say things like, well, we've spoken to the doctor and the doctor confirms that he did the death certificate. Well, he signed it. He's a doctor. He's not going to say, oh, no, I didn't do it. It's not going to necessarily be a forged one. But that's not really good evidence. And then people will say, so he must be dead. Even in the documentary, people that had lost their life savings, their home, and everything else. So basically, $150 million has gone missing.
Yeah.
Jerry Cotton is allegedly dead. There was a guy called Martin Patrion, whose real name is Omar Danani, who used to be a member of Shadow Crew.
Yeah.
There'd been involvement previously by Jerry in an exit scam under the name of Scepter. So all that information was available, but I mean, Shadow Crew was operated in 2004. So you'd have to go back to 2004.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean that Martin Patrion was a crook, but I felt the implication, he was a crook. He got sentenced. He was a money launderer on the Shadow Crew side. But he did his 18 months. He may have been, it may have been a genuine business at first. But the implication I got from the show was they were implying that Martin Patrion was somebody that you wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of. And that gave Jen a reason for going into hiding. And, maybe that's why Jerry was disappearing and everything else. I think that could be a red herring. I might be being kind to Martin. But the reality is we've got 150 million missing.
Yeah.
People have to actually raise the money as well. People were borrowing on high interest. I mean, that's the other thing that people don't think about is, people get so carried away with these investment frauds that they actually will borrow money off family. They'll put money on credit cards. And one of the guys there had, I think he'd remortgaged his house. The interest rates went up. He wasn't able to collect on the account. So people's lives were actually ruined by this. So a couple of messages that I'd like to give out is look for assurance that it's genuine as opposed to look for evidence of fraud. Yeah. Don't fall for the three years, looking back for the last 3 to 5 years. Look back further. If it doesn't look right, don't do it. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. And that there are loads of these scams going around. Just because somebody's made money out of emeralds doesn't mean that we're all going to be Elon Musk.
Exactly. Yeah. I just think that, I mean, how many times, I cannot think of many times I get approached, because I'm very keen on the sort of preventative side of things.
Yeah.
How many people come to you before the event as opposed to after the event? And I think I know the answer to that.
Very few compared to after the event.
Yeah. And I suppose the other question is, would somebody be prepared to pay for some preliminary due diligence before investing money in a company they know nothing about? it just needs a change of mindset. But I very rarely does anybody ever come to me and say, "Would you mind taking a look at that? I'm thinking of investing money in it." It's almost always completely the other way around.
I've got 80. Yeah, I'm 80 grand down.
Yeah,
and I've got no more money left, so I can't afford to pay you to investigate it. But would you help me?
Yeah.
And I mean, again, it gets shady there, doesn't it? As well as there are some investigators that are taking thousands off people, to investigate and come up with nothing. But the difference I would say is this: is that if you have a tax problem, you would not try and sort it out yourself or go to a plumber. You would go to an accountant. Our ability to professional investigators, not just me and Colin, but ones with experience of due diligence, our ability to actually get to the nub of what matters, and to be able to spot the red flags. And also, some red flags don't matter. Some red flags are acceptable risks, but our ability to do that quickly, professionally, and in a way that you can rely on, far exceeds people just Googling.
But I think the other thing is with this, and I suppose it doesn't. You can investigate to the nth degree, but when somebody amasses so much money in a scheme such as this, because there will be legitimate ones, really can get the better of them, and their whole sort of motivation can change to thinking, there's a pot of money over there, I could actually close a company and run off it, and no amount of due diligence is going to prevent that happening. And that's the other risk you've got to factor into these sorts of things, isn't it?
Well, that's why you need to know about the people, though, isn't it, Colin?
Exactly. Yeah.
The fact that he's already involved. I mean, for me, the big one was that he's allegedly involved in the exit scam from Scepter. So if he's done an exit scam once, he's likely to do a second one. And then just adding in factors, adding in other factors, but certainly they wouldn't have passed. None of them at any stage would have passed a decent due diligence check. And the other one is what you've got to remember is there are other investments available that are far more reliable. And where you've got a recourse if it goes wrong. Here, everybody's just left holding worthless screenshots.
Exactly. And
mind you, they could turn the screenshots into NFTs, but that's another risk watchdog.
That's another risk watchdog. Excellent. Brilliant. Okay, so that's been. I mean, you could go on forever about this. I mean, I would encourage anybody to watch the documentary if they can. It is entertaining. There's also real life stories in there, but it's also about don't get embroiled in this stuff unless you really know what you are doing, and seek professional advice, as we said. But let's see if anybody's if we get lots of calls, Perry Peter, because I very much doubt that's going to happen. But we'll keep talking about it. Okay, all right, mate. Thank you very much for that.
And I've got to throw out to all of you, when it comes to fraud, you've got to let's be careful out there.
Absolutely. Yeah. And one thing I'm going to say before we switch off is, if you think this is worth doing, can you like the Risk Watchdogs page on LinkedIn, and we'll keep on doing it. Peter, thank you very much. Entertaining.
Thanks, Colin.
All right, see you later.
Bye now.
Bye, everybody.